Black Alpha Network. Power to the people.
As a matter of fact, it ain't my style to wait. We're going to get right to it, y'all. We're going to talk about this Donald Trump arrest, the indictment, the whole situation, how it affects us, the whole spectrum. We're going to also talk about this secret pan-African meeting. We're going to combine the two, and anybody who wants to come up and speak their mind, bring it. Because one thing we love to do is hear different opinions, different views, so we can share notes. Because if we all do a little, we all do a lot. And that's the best thing about these type of conversations and this type of dialogue we have. But, you know, the little pan-African secret meeting, that was basically exposing every single thing that we always say about these tethers. And I actually just sat back and heard some of it, but that's another story. We're going to break that down in a little bit. But we see that every single thing that we've been saying as a collective, they are literally out here doing everything to the T. So we're going to break all that down. We're going to talk about Kamala Harris over there in Africa. We're going to talk about this secret meeting. We're going to talk about Donald Trump. And we're going to speak on how this all centers around our lineage, heritage, and culture. One of my mottos is when you are the foundation of America, then everything revolves around you. So trust and believe, these folks got us in their mind 24/7, 365. Even if they don't admit it, they don't acknowledge it, they don't accept it, we will do that for them. So we're going to break all that down. It's going to be a hell of a space because it's a hell of a news day. And we're going to ride that wave all the way to the top. I see I got Beatzilla in here. I'm going to try to pull you up, brother. Yep, I got you right now. How's things going, family?
Man, good, man. You know, we got the rain, but it's in the mid, I guess 40s and something like that today. But what is it looking like down there your way, brother?
I'm a little deeper south today, family. I'm in Florida, man. So, the sun is shining extra down here, man. It's shining on our lineage anyway, but it's extra shining on us down here in the deep south, brother. You feel me? Man,
I absolutely feel you, man. And I just got done listening to that tether. The tether call, we definitely have to talk about that because that speaks to something that, we have been addressing, but to actually sit in that meeting and watch that thing go down and watch how treacherous these tethers are. And it is all about money. I hope y'all understand. So when you got people coming out here talking about, man, y'all hating on the black immigrants and this family, the only reason they trying to get close to you is about money. Resources came out that conversation like every other word. They were talking about resources, and then preventing us from delineating from them. So, yeah, we got to get into that, brother.
Got you. Dr. Kabahayawatha Kamene, he told me personally, okay, y'all seen my interview with him, but I've also spoke to him. He told me personally, he said, we got to own our greatness. All right. Own our greatness. And we're going to own some greatness today because everything that we say about these people, they live that shit out. No more we going to hear FBA is wrong. FBA is a hate group. We on some different shit. No, we are accurate 100%. When we say folks is trying to do the tether, they trying to do the tether. When we say folks is fleeing, they fleeing. When we say folks is trying to mooch off us and leech off us, they trying to mooch and leech off of us. People are just mad because we calling it out. But I'm telling you, brother, and you heard it today. Every single talking point that foundational Black Americans have laid on the table, they were literally trying to run interference on verbatim, 10 times out of 10 to the goddamn maximum. So this is who we dealing with. But guess what? It ain't nothing new to us. We're not trying to figure it out. We already know what time it is. We already know what type of time that they on. Anybody who did not hear that little secret meeting, anybody who did not hear that, you really don't even have to because it's everything you already thought about it, tether. It's that tether energy. It's that I got to get it from somebody else because I can't get it on my own. I got to mooch off of these folks because I can't build. I always say we build and they steal. And that was nothing but a bunch of thieves talking, family. Big time, all the time, all the way across the board. And you're seeing now that our reparations claim has affected the whole planet. Foundational Black Americans, we are in this nation, but our impact is global, all the way around the world, family. So you're seeing everybody come up with some type of plan, some type of scheme, some type of strategy to where they can infiltrate what we got going on and then they can leave with our money. Reparations has genuinely, truly changed the game of the whole world, not just America. So you're going to continue to see this stuff and we just going to have to stay on game and reject them every time they pop up. And we've been doing a damn good job. I mean, last year, we pretty much rejected every single other group, no matter who they are, no matter where they're from, no matter what hemisphere they're at, no matter what time zone they live in. We pretty much rejected everybody last year. And what you're seeing now in the beginning of this year is that we're going to have to match that same energy and just keep it going because the new anti-reparations is the person who says that he supports reparations. That's what it is. You got to watch the person out here who's coming around saying that they support reparations or that they're trying to run on a reparations platform. These are people trying to infiltrate us for us to drop our guard, let them come on in the house. And when they come on in the house, they're trying to leave with all the money. You feel me, family?
Brother, man, that's an understatement, man. What I was just listening to, it was amazing. And it brought something into my mind, man. I have to really reevaluate all of these pan-Africanist positions, because truth be told, it's like we grew up always thinking that this Pan-African thing was kind of on the independent thing of blackness. But truth be told, it's starting to look and shape out and shake out like almost type of, hey, we need something for, like the Democrats thinking something. We need something for black folks to kind of consume their time and their thinking space. So let's give them this Pan-Africanism and then start digging into this endless pit that will never produce any financial results or any actual legitimate educational answers for our lineage here. So notice that if you heard in that meeting, they keep trying to skip over our lineage here to implement themselves. Number one, that is a huge disrespect to our ancestors. Second of all, they keep saying, well, they want everybody and anybody to go into this OMB and their comment section and then start talking against us delineating. And the only reason that they want us to stop the delineation move is because they're worried about losing all of their goodies that they benefit from being under this black banner. And then also because they're immigrants. So if we take our ownership of ourselves, they are worried that they can no longer eat off of us. So any of these Pan-Africanists talking about hate group or you guys hate black immigrants, if y'all can't talk about the business, which of course the only business of Pan-Africanism is selling their own products and books. So let's keep that a buck. Pan-Africanists and these black immigrants, that is the big grift. You feel me, my brother?
Man, 100% it's a goddamn grift, brother, all the way. And if you notice, you're starting to see people who realize that they can't have anything unless it comes from us. Tethers need us. There ain't no power in tethering. All right, let's put that on the table. There's no power in being a tether. Tether means that you got to get it from somebody else because you don't have it in you. You ain't got the talent. You ain't got the skill to make it happen for your goddamn self. Where I'm from, we call that a loser. I don't know about anybody else, but where I'm from, we call that a loser. If you can't put food on the table for your family, you a loser. If you can't keep the lights on, you a loser. And these folks are losers. So they're coming over here now with that loser disease. You know what I mean? So they're trying to get everything that we have. And now that since we put in that, no trespassing sign, we blocked them, we won't let them come in the house. Now what they're going to do? The desperation is to the maximum. And that's what happens every time foundational Black Americans get on code. When certified Black society gets on code and on point, everybody else is in disarray. And that was a complete disarray meeting. Back channel, fucking whatever. That's all that was. These were people who were in desperate times. Desperate times call for desperate measures. And that was desperate as hell. But you're seeing the effect again from certified foundational Black Americans is how it's having an effect on the whole planet. The whole planet. I mean that shit. People don't understand. We think what we do just goes down the block and down the corner. The same way that our culture travels all across the world is the same way our political and social accomplishments travel across the world. Anywhere you are, you're going to see foundational Black Americans in these people's brain. I mean, think about it, family. These motherfuckers think about us when they walking their dog, when they at the grocery store, you know what I mean? When they at the goddamn restaurants, everything they do has us in the center of their mind. So goddamn well they do. So speaking of this Donald Trump situation and tie that into this, because the parallels exist, you can actually connect the dots here. When you see the Donald Trump situation, remind you, I was one of the first people to start telling folks, this Donald Trump situation has everything to do with immigration and the borders. It has every single thing to do with that. You're starting to talk about anti-Black racism and an erasure of our culture. Well, every erasure needs a replacer. So when you have Joe Biden and the Democrats and the liberals that want to bring in 11 million illegals, documented or undocumented, those are the replacements that they want to come in and take away our culture. Well, on the other half, you have Donald Trump and his MAGA crowd. They want to close the borders. They say ain't no motherfucking Julio, no Gonzalez, no Sanchez, ain't nobody coming here. So what do you have now? You got one person who's trying to erase us with replacements, and then you got the other person who's trying to put up a border and not allow the, erasure to go, go into full effect, shall I say. So right now, you're starting to see that whole situation play out. This ain't got nothing to do with no hush money. This ain't got nothing to do with no $5 porn star. It ain't got nothing to do with any of that. They're willing to change the precedence of the presidency. They're willing to change the actual political structure in order to bring in replacements. This is how serious it is. As much money as they spend on immigration, family, these are the motherfuckers who want to get some type of return for that investment. Donald Trump's border wall and Donald Trump saying on his first day, he's going to have the biggest mass deportation process in American history. That puts a big ass blockade in front of the erasure that they're trying to do for foundational Black Americans. So somebody picked up a phone, somebody made some calls, and they said, put some charges on that motherfucker. What does that tell you? That tells you again that foundational Black Americans are in the center of everything. We occupy their thoughts, we occupy their decisions, we occupy their movements, and we're going to continue to do that because we're on code. When we're not on code, this shit don't happen. When we're on code, you see our effects going all the way to the top level, down from the goddamn Pan-African all the way up to the presidency. You feel me, family?
Bro, man. I just watched Donald Trump get on his plane. So, they went through the whole political theater of, he went and turned himself in. And, I'm looking at the big picture of everything that's going on right now, especially even with the NCAA tournament with the women, and how they were promoting the Caitlin Clark woman so heavy. I think that all of this plays into what agenda they were trying to move in this next phase, because they were doing way too much hype behind this Caitlin Clark woman. They still are, but again, so there's something there. They're building that up to something. I'm assuming one of those things might possibly have been, once she wins, then she comes out with my family came here in this time of year. So she comes with the immigrant line, and then they're able to push a woman immigrant line down the way. But now with this Trump thing and a sister actually standing firm in Blackness, boy, oh boy, oh boy, I can hear the engines of them jets rumbling. And you see them folks that was in that meeting today. These people are nervous, family. You understand what I'm saying? Oops, my bad. These people are absolutely nervous, family, and this is what they're afraid of. So from Donald Trump to the NCAA tournament to this backdoor pan-Africanist meeting that they just had today to undermine our reparations and even our delineation. How we say we want to identify, they are actively working against it. I hope y'all understand this is about reparations, and shout out to whoever tagged me and my brother in the Charlie Kirk piece, because Charlie Kirk, this is a right-wing man. Do you understand the trouble that the Democrats are in when a white man who is so blatantly anti-Black tells you, hey, white folks, y'all just need to get used to, there's going to be reparations in America. Do you understand what we're talking about now? So I hope y'all understand that this is all playing in, and this Donald Trump thing, I think the case is weaker than they're making it to be, because by no means do you arraign somebody in April and the very next time that he's going to court is going to be in December. Brother, can you recall ever hearing anybody that had their second court date was like 9 months later? Have you ever heard of that before, brother?
Man, we're in some trying, hella times, brother. It's some hella times right now. Hey, and it's only early April. This year feel like it's been 5 years in one. It's crazy, brother. You talking about an ex-sitting president getting arrested. You have everybody out there trying to stop our delineation and our separation. It's crazy, but I'm here for it. I love this type of shit, man. I'm built for this. This is what I've been waiting for, family. I love this type of shit because it shows you that we are on code. If we were not on code, family, we would have been rolled over by now. It'd already been over. Like the whole movement would have already been crushed if we weren't on code. So I look at all these things as confirmation for how strong we are. The very fact that they got to make these moves and, from the highest level to, institutions, they got to try to prevent us. That lets you know that we doing something right. And we all know what we doing right. This ain't the old time. This ain't the old era. This is a new era. This is a new day. So my, viewpoint on the whole situation collectively is we are up against a lot of fucking people. There's a lot of people out here trying to stop us and trying to stifle us. I don't think the average person understands it. I think we see some fucking tethers who call in these spaces and they try to run bullshit interference and we laugh at them and roast them and then we go on about our day. Fuck to the no. This is up at the highest levels of people trying to stop us. Mind you, we have been designated the permanent underclass in this country. When you are designated the permanent underclass in this country, that means they actually spend money trying to keep you down. Dr. Claus spoke about this in the 1980s. They spent trillions of dollars trying to keep us down, and they spent trillions of dollars bringing in people to replace us. So once we delineate and we separate and we just see things properly and we get rid of folks and we reject folks and nobody can come on in, we put that no trespassing sign, FBA only in our front yard. Now what they're going to do? What they're going to do now? Everything that you're seeing. You're not out here charging ex-presidents just for fun. You're only doing that is because you have some type of plan that ain't going the way you want it to. There's some type of hitch, some type of issue that they cannot get off properly. They're looking at these 2024 early polls and Joe Biden is losing. Donald Trump is winning. Check that. And they're also seeing a lot of black people. We looking at that border and we saying, hell, let's go ahead and get us some closed border candidates. They don't like that. Look at all the last things that happened. Stacey Abrams got her ass served, lost. Somehow she done popped up in Africa right now. Kamala Harris is over in Africa right now. Don't tell me that they ain't got an erasure of our culture, and don't tell me that they're not afraid of what we're doing right now. We're not letting it go. We're not taking that shit lightly. This ain't the Edmund Pettus Bridge era where you're going to whoop our ass and we just going to say, come on in, take it back. Fuck to the no. Every single thing that they throw at us, we're countering that shit. And I'm loving it, family. I'm loving that shit to the core because I knew we had it in us. And it's a beautiful thing to watch it play out day to day, step for step. So when you look at the Donald Trump situation, and as we said, the secret backdoor fucking meeting that the Pan-Africans had, and that shit was weird as fuck, by the way, brother. They look sad as hell. They face was on the ground, brother. They just look desperate. But when you start to see these things right now, it just shows you, as I said previously, it's confirmation about the empowerment that we got going on. It's confirmation about the strength that we putting out here right now. And it's also confirmation that supremacy on supremacy crime. And anytime you see supremacy on supremacy crime, it's our job to sit the fuck back, pop some popcorn, and take advantage of that shit. And that's what I see my brothers and sisters are doing. Brother Marcel, my low country family, it's all on you, brother.
Oh, thank you, Alpha. Hello, everyone. I have to go real soon. I want to say one, like you and I discussed in the back channel, this Donald Trump facing charges of being arrested. First of all, let's be very clear. Donald Trump may not be a fan of Black Americans. He may very well be anti-Black American. And guess what? That's fine with me as long as we get tangibles from him. If we get specific policies from him, that's fine. Because the bastard we got in the White House right now is anti-Black American. But the difference is, unlike the bastard in the White House right now, Donald Trump did not write a crime bill that locked up a whole generation of Black Americans. Donald Trump in the 70s and 80s was not working with Ku Klux Klan members, literal Ku Klux Klan members, to keep Black kids out of school. There's not a statement from Donald Trump saying that if Black kids go to my children's schools, it will turn their school into a jungle. It's not Donald Trump who eulogized Strom Thurmond. And for those of you who don't know, Strom Thurmond was a U.S. congressman, but he was a disgusting, notorious segregationist and anti-Black American bigot. He's on record for having the longest filibuster just because he thought that certain legislation was going to help Black Americans. That's slow Joe Crow Biden. And right now, we got slow Joe Crow Biden wife. She is so inherently anti-Black American, like her husband, as far as I'm concerned, that these Black girls from Louisiana State University just ripped the pants off of that majority white girl basketball team, and she can't even bring herself to want to just give the Black girls their sign. So she's now trying to invite the runner-ups, which is something that is not traditionally done at all. So we're going to put up with anti-Black American hate from these bastards either way until one of us runs for office who's not anti-Black American and on a platform that's specifically for us. But out of the two that I just mentioned, Donald Trump and so Joe Crow Biden, Donald Trump is the only one that actually came out with some sort of Black agenda specifically for us. Now, slow Joe Crow Biden actually got in office with his Lift Every Voice platform that was supposed to be his Black agenda. That punk hasn't mentioned that since being in office. And matter of fact, after he got in, before he even got officially in office, he met with some of these older black people. I ain't calling them no black leaders. And he told them that they better just get used to working with the Hispanics, and the Hispanics are the future. And I'm not even mad at the slow Joe Crow Biden. I already knew you were nothing but a disgusting buzzard-faced snake. But so I'm not getting mad at the buzzard snake face for showing that's what they are. But those older blacks sat right there and let him say that and offered him no pushback. At least Donald Trump was deporting the hell out of these illegals. Donald Trump was treating these illegals like the invaders they are. Donald Trump was even thinking about rescinding birthright citizenship so that the illegals came here and try to have an anchor baby, they will get deported back, and their child, who is their responsibility, will get deported back with them. We all see how illegal immigration hurts us. And let's be very clear. Y'all seen those videos of me going to my town council in my town. These are white Republicans, deep South white Republicans. Look how uncomfortable they are when I bring up how these illegals need to be deported. Look how uncomfortable they are when I ask them what are they going to do to protect my town and make sure the very, very, very limited resources of my town goes to actual Americans. You know why they get uncomfortable? Because they are in on it too. We've absorbed this mentality that somehow the Democrats are for illegal immigration and Republicans are against it. No. The truth of the matter is there are Democrats who are for illegal immigration, but there are some Democrats who are actually against it. Just likewise, there are some Republicans who love illegal immigration. They may not want them to have the right to vote because they even realize how treasonous that is, but they are for the illegals replacing us. Like I said to my town council, cheap labor is cheat labor. So a lot of them don't want Donald Trump in office because that would mean they will actually have to hire Americans. And if they hire Americans, they will have to pay Americans more. And a lot of the jobs that these illegals do are jobs that Black Americans in fields where Black Americans dominating, from lawn maintenance to roofing, electrical work, flooring, carpentry, construction, you name it. So they are doing the same thing to us that they did with the Irish, importing the Irish in so they can replace us after slavery. So they don't want Donald Trump in office because they know he has been steadfast. You can say what you want to say about the man, but he's been very consistent with a few things. And one of his most consistent stances is deporting the hell out of these illegals, and I'm here for it. Now, I'm not going to sit here and promote Donald Trump like he's been a pro-Black American candidate, but I can tell you what I can say. He's been the least anti-Black American candidate. We already had one of the most anti-Black American presidents in the White House in our modern era since the fall of Jim Crow and redlining on paper. And no, I'm not talking about Lyndon B. Johnson. I'm not talking about Nixon. I'm talking about Barack Obama, who was one of the most anti-Black American presidents to put in there. He said some despicable things to us that if a white president had said it, even I'm sure some white people would have said that is disgustingly anti-Black. But Obama will go to HBCU graduations and pretty much accuse these young men who didn't even have children, the majority of them, of being deadbeat dads and sagging their pants. He said that the government doesn't work that way. When a white reporter asked him, don't you owe Black American community something special, being that they're the reason for your success? And he said it didn't work that way. And yet, just months and weeks later, he's doing specific things for other groups. So my thing is, okay, even if Donald Trump is anti-Black American, when Ice Cube said, who wants to work with me and do a Black agenda, he asked Slow Joe Crowbine, he asked Donald Trump. It was Donald Trump who responded, and his team met with Ice Cube right away and actually came up with something. So if I had to choose between Slow Joe Crowbine and Donald Trump, my money would be on Donald Trump. And guess what? Like you already mentioned, Alpha, they realize a lot of Black Americans and more Black Americans are starting to think that way. So this is their way of trying to get him out of the paint and make him a non-factor in the presidential election. But they really just did the best thing for him. Now they're going to make him a martyr, and now people are going to rally around him. I just read an article saying, y'all have to correct me on the numbers, but I heard that in the past 4 days, he's raised 14 or 40 million dollars, something like that. They are dumb as hell. If they didn't learn when they killed Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the quickest way to activate a base that was probably previously not active or previously asleep is to give them a martyr. And that's exactly what they're doing with Donald Trump. And you're damn right. It's all about them trying to keep these illegals here. And don't think, y'all, we underestimate, and I see little Nicholas wants to speak, and she knows better than I do because she just spoke about some behind the scene things. Don't think that they don't think deeply about these things. They know that some Black Americans realize that Donald Trump might actually offer us something that we can probably work with him. Don't think they don't realize that too, and don't think that ultimately this is not about them realizing we don't want to give these Negroes any options. So let's try to get a DeSantis in there who's definitely not going to do anything for the Negroes, or slow Joe Crow Biden, who has never done anything for the Negroes besides terrorize them.
I agree. I totally agree, Marcel, because it was like what you just said, and that's good observation too. Because if you notice, they are low key kind of pulling back the punches on Ron DeSantis to make sure Donald Trump gets the brunt of it. You understand what I'm saying? So they're playing a lot of political poker right now. So yeah, absolutely, brother. Thank you, Marcel. Fire as always. If you don't want to chime in on that, Alpha, we can get to the next hands.
Yeah, hey, let me add in real quick, family, before we do that. That's a damn good point our brother made right there, family. These folks think about immigration every day. The dominant society is not spending the money that they spend on illegals just for fun. They doing that because they have to bring in some replacements. What I said earlier, every erasure has to have a replacer. And they've already designated who they're trying to bring in to replace us. We can't sit here and talk about an erasure of our culture 24/7, 365 and not think that the replacements are already lined up. You see it all the way across the board. You see the Ukrainians, you see the Afghan refugees. They were getting what? All types of money. Get a free fly here. They got $400,000 to everybody separated at the border by Trump. You got American veterans who are homeless in the streets, while you got illegals sitting in a goddamn Airbnb or a 5-star hotel. Up in New York, Eric Adams was laying in a goddamn tent just to show the illegals how much of a friend he is. This shows you how serious they are about illegal immigration. And illegal immigration is here for one thing. That is to serve the dominant society, to be puppets and minions for the dominant society, and to tether on and to eventually replace us. So Donald Trump's border wall, that is the biggest blockade to stop the illegal immigrant influx. And on top of that, foundational Black Americans getting on code and finally rejecting immigrants and not going with that shit that the elders used to teach us about everybody's our friend, everybody's going to come on in, let's hand out what we have and share it with every last immigrant. We finally got on code and rejected that. Donald Trump's talking about building a wall, but yet a lot of the Democrats and the liberals want to spend trillions of dollars on illegals. Oh, you got a motherfucking problem. That's a big conflict of interest. And it's our job as certified foundational Black Americans to sit back and enjoy the show so we can get to the hands. La Negris, is all on you, my sister.
Hey, thanks. Thank you. Thank you, Black Alpha. Thank you, Beatzilla. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. And let me tell you something about how serious this immigration stuff is. I'm up here in the Pacific Northwest, and unfortunately, my congressional representative is an immigrant who is putting the erase and replace legislation in place as we speak right now. You may have heard about, what was that, HR 1308, about the New Deal for New Americans policy, sponsored by Grace Ming of New York. Well, my congressional member co-sponsored that, and I'm not too pleased about that because the erase and replace policy is beating us up here with the jobs. We're talking skilled labor jobs, okay? As Marcel brought up, the skilled blue-collar jobs such as electrical, plumbing, landscaping, roofing, and stuff. Yeah. Up here, there are unions, black unions, that had been in place for about 95 years. Those folks can't get work anymore, and you've got a union card, and these jobs that used to pay, I'm not kidding, one moment, please, $30 to $40 an hour starting out. And they're not going to pay a black man or a black woman with a union card who's starting out $30 to $45 an hour. Now, if you're a journeyman, it's $50 to $60 an hour. And if you're a master in your craft, the sky's the limit. That's why they're bringing in all of these folks, because they don't want to pay us what we deserve, okay? H-1B visas, J-1, F-1, F-2 visas, that's how they're getting us out of the universities, and that's how the companies are bringing in folks over on top of us in these high-end jobs, okay? Rather than paying you, who graduated HBCU or PWI and tech, $110,000 a year because you're a data analytics specialist or you're a software engineer doing front end and back end or front stack or back stack. They can go and get somebody from Malaysia and only pay them $88,000. You see how that works? And these companies sponsor this, folks, okay? And it's not Democrat and it's not Republican. It's about a policy: erase and replace. I'm done here.
Major facts, sis. Major facts. And that's what we always say. It ain't a left or a right thing. It is the agenda of the system of white supremacy. And they are looking to keep afloat by erasing our history. They want a whole new generation not even knowing how this country was built. So they want to already start rewriting our history. So with that being said, we gonna push back and say, hell no. Sister Miriam, you got it.
Good evening to you, brothers and sisters. Shout out to you, to the room, of course, to you, Brother Black Alpha and Brother Bisilla, Sister La Negres, and Brother Marcel and others, Brother Eastside, FBA, sister, shout out to you. We know that we have to really be astute this day and age, especially now with the thing that we're getting with the reparations-based lineage. We are going to have droves of pushback, of opposition. I know today I voted for the person that I would like to evoke and push change in my community. I hope you all have went out and voted too. It's mayoral race that is happening today, along with who goes into your city council, school boards, your treasurers, and things of that nature. So please get out there and vote and let your voice be heard. Do not be swayed. Try to pull up much information as you can on these candidates. This is what we mean by mind your state and push the line, getting involved in your grassroots politics so that we can be the change that we need to be, because we have to stop all these erasure policies that these damn foreigners and immigrants are pushing in place, and the boule is pushing in place. They do not speak for us. They are not us. They are not about us. So therefore, we have to ensure our lineage and just our very existence within the next year to present, to date, ensure that we have our jobs. Those of us who took the time to get their degrees, as well as acquire their skills, who are journeymen, who are masters, will not be pushed out and discriminated and edged out of what they rightfully owned, who took the time to acquire the skill and the education, only for them to get someone who came off a banana boat or crawled out from a tunnel or swam over here on a rice paddy to take our places. So we have to get in these places so that our voices can be strong. Tilt my hat to you, Brother Marcel, because you're doing the damn thing. And I'm going to run for some sort of office when it's up and open again. I was too late this time, but I am going to make sure that I throw my head in the ring. And but I'm still putting my weight, my time and sweat and resources behind Miss Marie Franklin and her whole team, who is getting in there to push out some of the nepotism that's been plaguing our city for 60 years, who we know to be the tools of white supremacy, because our city is a great city. We have some of the greatest athletes. We have 2 gold medalists, Jackie Joyner-Kersee, as well as Dawn Harper, who are gold medal Olympians from out of our city. We have Miles Davis. We have, oh my goodness, so many more. Even Tina Turner, although she don't like to even say it, but she'll claim St. Louis. No, however, you were in East St. Louis, Illinois, where you married Ike and reared your children. So it's like that type of situation. We're just too great to not put our hats in the ring. And period, whether it's my city, your city, we have to do what is necessary. And it starts with us, because I'm going to a city meeting. We had one on the 6th, but they canceled it because today is the 4th and the mayoral race have taken place. They didn't think that they would be through in enough time to see who would become our mayor. So they're having one on the 13th of this month. And I will be front and center and present. And like I stated before, I will be speaking upon reparations first and foremost, no sanctuary city second, of course, lineage-based reparations, that is. We always have to remember that, lineage-based reparations, and of course, no sanctuary city, and about people who are entering our city who do not belong in our city, as well as when you think about Joe Biden, do he not look like the damn man from Phantasm that was running around, the demonic tall demon that was running around murdering people? And also the mug, the dude from Poltergeist. Boy, they could be triplets, can't they? And all across the board, it's evil. I've read a post today by a brother who is usually on point, and he had some very good points and was very relevant. But we will not excuse or not hold the Jim Crow slow administration who's in current office. We will not deobligate them for some of the things that they have passed, this open border policy, and to get at us, they're willing to sink the whole damn country. And that's what's sad. And then all this high inflation since the Great Depression of 1929 that extended, I believe, 6 weeks, all the way up until the year of 1932. It took the citizens to dump the milk on the ground, although they were starving. It took them to tell the powers that be, which were the Rockefellers and the Roswell's family and others, that we are not going to take this anymore. You will not keep driving up prices. You will not make us live in slums and depression. You will not give the citizens what they need while you're constantly gathering. Your purse is so fat with greed. You know, yes, this is a capitalistic society, but where are the damn morals? Where are the standards? Where is the line drawn for mentality and social responsibility? These companies move with impunity, and we have to put a stop to that. Not in my neighborhood you get to dump illegally. Not in my community. You know what I'm saying? And we have to fight for environmental safeties, because that is what we're dealing with, the white supremacy of institutional racism of these companies with heinous environmental atrocities that they have committed. Now, I mean, everything from the grass, the trees, to the animals, and then us, who have ingested and live in this filth because they want profit and to keep continuing to pump out their products for profit over greed, over human safety and peace of mind, and just the right to live in this country. I'll yield my time because Sister LaGrasse have her hand up. Sorry, Sister LaGrasse. I cannot get the name right. I need to drink some water. Blueberry. You know, charge it to my head, not my heart. You know I love you, sister. But back to you, Brother B. Silla, or back to you, Brother Black Alpha. I'll let you control your room. Thank you.
Yeah, I got a point to make on top of that. Everybody's laying down real good points, real good game. That's why I love having these conversations, because it's all across the board. I love these spaces because we can talk about what's going on out there on the West Coast. We can talk about what's going down in the East Coast, the Midwest, and I'm in the Deep South. So we understand immigrants and the immigration policies, they vary regionally. So out there in California, you know, it's all lives matter. Everybody come on in, just happy. Open door policy. They're giving the motherfuckers free education, healthcare. They're allowing them to vote, do every goddamn thing. It's a little different when you come down to the South. Where me and Marcel is at, it gets a little tricky. You'll see people who support immigration who own businesses, but your average, everyday, no teeth having, trailer park living Jethro, he ain't going for no motherfucking Julio. He ain't going for Mr. Gonzalez. Jorge can take his ass back home. He don't want to hear about 11 million illegals. He's telling them, take your shit and get the fuck out of America. As a matter of fact, anybody who's been in the Deep South, all my family here right now, I guarantee you that you will meet certain white folks from the dominant society that would rather fuck with us before they'll fuck with an illegal immigrant. They'll say, I prefer Marquise or LaShonda before I ever fuck with Julio or Mr. Muhammad. People know that goes on down here in the South. And what I see when I see that, I see somewhere where we can take advantage. We can exploit that type of situation. Anytime you see supremacy on supremacy crime, you exploit it. The same way when white folks say, hey, Mr. East Coast, Mr. West Coast said this about you. Hey, Eldridge Cleaver, Huey P. Newton said this about you. They come in and they don't take sides in our conversations or our conflicts. They exploit them. And that's the same exact thing that we're going to have to start doing. We're going to have to start exploiting them. If you see one guy who wants to bring in illegals and you got another guy who says send their ass home, we need to start looking at the person saying send their ass home and say, well, you know what? I might just go vote for you. Let me go have a conversation with you. That's exactly what our brother Ice Cube did. So all that shit where you go vote for the Democrats and the Democrats say, thanks for your vote, but now we're going to bring in your replacements. That don't work for us. We need to exploit the situation of supremacy on supremacy crime, liberals, Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, and make sure that we end up with the bag in the process. That's the only way that we're going to elevate. Marcel, my brother, you right down the street from me, brother, or shall I say up the street from me. Speak on it, family.
I mean, you're absolutely right. These old fake, phony white Republicans, not all, but quite a few of them, are just for illegal immigration, just like the Democrats. They tell us that are letting illegals take over. The same way the Democrats tell us to hate these white Republicans because they don't like us and they don't like us either. They all unite when it's time to be anti-Black American. But you're right. The white American in the South, who's typically conservative on the street, no, they're not going for legal immigration. And you're right. I've had so many of them say, if we are going to spend, this country is going to spend billions and trillions of dollars, then damn it, it needs to be on American. It will make much more sense economically for Black Americans to get it. Now, of course, you got those anti-Black American bigots who would rather see the country burn than Black Americans get anything for it. But the average a white American on the street in the South, they are not for the immigrant stuff. But I'm going to go even further, and you know this is true too. The average Black American is in the South, at least, is not for this immigrant stuff. Now, you ain't got these Black boule Democrat sellouts who sit there and say Black and brown. If you talk to the average Black American on the street, they are not for this illegal immigrant stuff. And when you speak to them, because I do all the time, they will tell you about how they're being replaced on the job, about how the immigrants are being treated better than them, about how a lot of them come over here and treat Black Americans with disdain. And you, unlike in, I guess, California, where people are probably selling out because they want that sexual access, in the South, Black Americans are not messing with and dating these Hispanics like that. They are not. You may have a few here and there. It rarely happens. Black Americans are still largely, and when they do date out, it's going to be with a white person. That's even rare. Black Americans are still largely dating among themselves. They're not jumping over themselves like in California, probably, where they're selling us out so they can have sexual access to an illegal. So it is very different, and we got to keep it that way because the illegals are coming this way. We have to make this country as unhospitable for them as we possibly can, in the sense that whatever resource this country has, it should go to Americans and Americans only. Now, I'm not a fan, and by the way, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. Illegal immigration also hurts illegal immigrants trying to get here. How many of them are terrorized by these coyotes who are human smugglers, pretty much, who terrorize them and make them pay these exorbitant amounts of money, and if they don't pay it, they go after their family members. It puts illegal immigrants in danger too. But even if that stuff was not happening, even if illegal immigration was not hurting Black Americans like it is, and it's a major, major threat, they still need to leave, because right is right and wrong is wrong. And I find it quite insulting. How many of you, I'm sure a lot of us, our families have been here since, some of us 1800, some of us 1700, and some of us probably even in the 1600s or further back than that. We have had to fight for everything we should have already had. We're still fighting for things we should have already had. It should be an insult to all of us that an illegal can hop the border, use our civil rights legislation for protection, get all the benefits that we have to fight to receive, and at the same time, all information shows that a lot of them are deeply anti-Black American. If that doesn't offend you, you're a damn jackass fool. You're an enemy of the Black American lineage, and you need to be treated as such.
Family. Hey, I'm going to add on to that. I got to, because we cooking right now. I used to be out in Texas. Anybody who's been to any of them border places, I'm telling y'all now, illegals hop that goddamn gate, they swim over them polluted ass rivers, and they go to the club. And then they go right back to fuck home. That's what they do. And Black people in a lot of these places do not exist. It's like you're not even there. And they bring anti-Black racism with them. If anybody wants to see anti-Blackness, take your ass down to South America. It's completely different. Black people down there are not on the census. Black people down there don't exist. They have no words. It's like they don't even fucking, even have a say-so in anything. If you ever see them, they're locked up in jail or they're living in the slums. That's what it is. So if somebody has that type of anti-Black racism over in Mexico, does the shit go away when they hop over the border and come to America? Hell to the no. As a matter of fact, what we've seen is it gets worse because they're used to talking down to Black folks in South America. But when they come up here, they deal with Black folks who ain't playing that shit. And then they're jealous of us because we have a long, rich history of accomplishments in this country. What the fuck do they celebrate here in America? They celebrate Cinco de Mayo, Mexican Independence Day. They celebrate shit that happened in Mexico. We celebrate things that we did here. So they understand they don't have that elevation above us in our country. They got to play second, third, fourth fiddle. So they know that the foundational Black American is a completely different Black person, a Black person that they're not used to. They're used to telling all the Black Mexicans, all the Black Venezuelans, the Black Cubans, shut the fuck up. And then they just say nothing. They just be quiet. They don't say nothing. When you start dealing with us here, we tell them what time it is. We don't back down. We continue to put out that excellence, and that rubs them all the wrong motherfucking way. So we have to continue to understand they have anti-Black racism in their homeland, and then they bring that type of shit here, and then the dominant society who supports illegal immigration is giving them some type of uplifting and elevation above us. That type of shit we are rejecting right now in this year and this time and this day and this moment, and they don't know what to do. This is why immigration has become such a big deal. They used to kind of talk about immigration and they would have little debates about it. But if y'all notice, this shit done been ramped up. Schumer came out a couple months ago and he said, we bringing in 11 million. He said documented or undocumented. Now, our master teacher, Dr. Claude Anderson, he's already showed us we cannot sustain that. We cannot maintain that. We're already having a hell of a time right now with the illegals who are here. Imagine when you bring in 11 million. That will cripple foundational Black Americans economically and socially. So those of us who understand this and listen to our master teachers, it is on us and it is our responsibility to do whatever the fuck it takes to stop illegal immigration for us and for the future, because their plan is to bring those folks in and give them everything they need while we don't get nothing. And anybody who's trying to put that type of energy on foundational Black Americans is going to have to just get dealt with. Closed border candidates, closed border policies, closed borders 24/7, keep the illegals out and let foundational Black Americans do what we do best, and that's be exceptional. Back to you, Zilla, and then we can get to John Horse. And then I see my sister Dark and Lovely in the east side.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Actually, I think Lenegris is before John Horse. But real quick, just understanding how these people play. They use one thing for another. So they'll use immigration again as a erasure. All of these different programs and agenda is all about anti-Blackness and about keeping us away from what we're owed. So the thing that you've seen today with the secret pan-Africanist meeting with the Nigerian grifter, Jama, whatever the hell her name is. And she's been at this working for a minute, and I called that woman out over a year ago. She's had me blocked for shit, I guess at least a year. What she has done has been actively working against reparations this entire time. So when she saw that she didn't get the job done, she went into overdrive, and now she's trying to enlist everybody off code to start going to the OMB to start messing with stuff. And one of the things this liar has in her mouth is she's saying that, oh, well, this won't affect your reparations claim. Bullshit. Do not let these people, these outsiders, come in and start dictating how we are going to carry ourselves and how we're going to identify ourselves. And number one, what we are owed for ourselves. Because if you understand, this same woman is the same woman who's talking about reparations shouldn't just be done for the harms of slavery in America. That should also go to the Caribbean and yada, yada. Now, there's a Caribbean CARICOM. Do not think that woman is ignorant of that. She's well aware of the Congressional Black Caucus's Caribbean sector. She's well aware of all of that. What this woman is doing is trying to make it so all of these other people, because she's Nigerian, so she needs it to be open for this flat blackness to start getting resources based off of black numbers. That means based off of foundational blackness. She wants Africans to get resources for their communities based off of our numbers. And this is the type of madness that's going on, family. So yeah, anybody co-signing that type of egregious grift is an op. And I'm saying this for myself. I'm looking at any black person co-signing that. And I do mean any, every, and all black persons co-signing that madness is an op. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, no misunderstandings. It's treasonous, and they should be vilified and shunned for such treasonous behavior. Because once again, pan-Africanism has now became a humongous aid toward immigration, and immigration is inherently anti-black. Sister La Negris, you got it, and then John Horse.
Thank you, Beatzilla. I'm glad you hammered home that point. We've had in Cobra, we've had NARC, we've had ADOS. Those are the big three who work under the banner of the current Democrat Party political system that is now faltering as we speak because we have taken control of reparations. We're not letting anybody dictate to us how we should run our own operations. We have decided, nope, you can't come in, you can't use us for your political advantage, take advantage of what we have done for the past 500 years and sell that to your own specific group to take over our resources. These are our resources. They didn't contribute anything because they don't have anything to contribute, and they never will have anything to contribute because everything that they so-called claim, they have stolen. Whether they stole it from when they came over here or they're currently in the process of stealing it now, working in conjunction with these panties. That's what I'm going to call them, panties. All right? But what's happened now, like you said at the outset, Beatzilla and Black Alpha, is this whole Donald Trump scenario has messed up the political game. It's messing up their grift. Okay? That's all that's going on. We see every last one of you. We know who's on code. We know who is not on code. We know why they're moving the way that they're moving. And the Democrats are going to get more than their asses handed back to them in 2024. This is going to reverb 2026, 2028, 2030 when the new census comes up. Okay? We've got to play the long game here, because what these people fear, and these are the panties, these are the tethers, these are everybody else who's not us. What they're afraid of is we're going to start from local, county, and all the way up to the feds saying no. The most powerful word in the English language is no. We're saying no to all of this nonsense. We're saying no to this trick bagger. We're saying no to this cooning and buffooning at the highest levels. Because what happened in California with that reparations task force stuff, we saw the snakes come out. The snakes came out and they started eating their own and eating themselves alive. And all of those folks were doing nothing but grandstanding while they get in political alignment for 2024 and 2026. That's it. And if they can get enough of their own people as political candidates at the local levels, they can keep with the grift going. Because that's all it is. Follow the logic, follow the money. Now, follow the movements that they've been pushing for the past 20 years, okay? With the environmental stuff, we know the environmental degradation is in our areas. Period. End of discussion. What did Marvin Gaye sing? The ecology song, Mercy, Mercy Me. And he's talking about the ecology. That is genocide, how they're dumping all kind of pollutants in our areas. And that's been going on for a century. And when people have been bringing these issues up, and I live in an area where they've done that. As soon as they've killed off all of us, financially, economically, politically, then all of a sudden they want to clean everything up. That is targeted, okay? That is targeted. And one of the things that that gets people riled up is when you start talking about targeting specific communities, targeting specific assets and communities. Hell, I'm in a sanctuary city. And the reason why they set it up as a sanctuary city is I live in a border state, but it's the Canadian border. And Canada doesn't play that. All of those folks who thought they could run up to Canada, they're sending them not back to the United States. They're sending them back to old Mexico, Honduras, Guatemala. And once you're on Interpol, you can't come back to the United States. Period. End of discussion. And that's why they set this up as a sanctuary city, because the coyotes can't come in here. They can't run them games. They can't pay off the sheriffs. They can't pay off the local politicians. Okay? And so they're not talking about it too terribly much, but a lot of the people who used to be Democrat have switched over to Republican because of the immigration problem is kicking people's asses in the jobs. Okay? And you've got a whole lot more Republican-leaning so-called Bernie bros and Biden sexuals. They're Republican. And that's what they're worried about. They're not worried about all of this other LGBTQ and all these other cultural and lifestyle choices. They're worried about their damn jobs. They're worried about their mortgages. They're worried about leaving white supremacy to their kids. And they see that they're getting outnumbered 6-1 and in some areas 12-1. Now all of a sudden, no, we're going to code switch. We're going to go over here to these guys because bottom line, it's not Democrat, it's not Republican, it's the green factor. Okay? Who's going to give us money for our tangibles? Who's going to give us money for our programs? Who's going to pay for our nonprofits? Who's writing and underwriting our bottom line? That's how folks think up here. And that's the way it is. So, yeah, they may front like they're Biden and Harris supporters. They're everything but that. And as far as I'm concerned, I've never been a straight ticket voter. I never believed in that vote blue no matter who, because those down ballot suckers are just that, suckers, leeches, okay? I vote for a candidate that's going to give me and my community specifics. And sometimes I will go and I do talk to them one-on-one. Because a lot of the folks around here, it's not that hard to strike up a conversation. And I'm talking to real people who have real issues. And up here, people don't get mad. They vote. And I'll yield the mic.
Real talk, sis. And I mean, that's one of the things, like you said, even here in this town. And something that kind of maneuvering Pacific Northwest politics, not all of those conversations will ever be on Front Street. So a lot of people don't understand the political maneuvering out here. So a lot of stuff goes on behind the scenes out this way, and you'll probably hear nothing of it. And again, because think about it, we are grossly outnumbered here. So to get things done out here, you have to attack it with a certain strategy. So from up there, but we understand what we are up against. So at a certain point, for Black issues up here up north, we actually have to make them not just state issues, but we actually have to make it visible for the entire country, because this is how we get the impression of what the state, because these states can hide the shit they really do without the exposure that we've been putting on it. And that's what has been changing the landscapes out here. That's why we almost got a Republican governor in Oregon. That's why you're seeing some changes with regards and positions. There is no flat blue no matter who out here no more. That is done. Matter of fact, you're going to find Portland is blue and the majority of the rest of the state is red. I mean, I'm talking about the majority. Just look at how big the state of Oregon is. All that blue comes from right where I'm at, right at the tippy top of the state. But the rest of the state, little Dixie, baby, you better know where you at. You can go straight over towards Idaho border, and before you make it to the border, there's a cafe off to your left. The name of that cafe is called the Redneck Cafe. And it has a big Confederate flag sitting on top of it, and right below it are the letters. I'm talking about, this is so big, you will not miss it from the freeway. You be like, oh yeah, you know where you at? I mean, this Northwest is like the country of the North. It's the country of the Northwest, to put it to you like that. So where all of the former Klansmen and all of those folks that moved up here to get away from free Negroes, this is where they settled. That's why we have a bunch of Confederate cemeteries up this way. So yeah, best believe up here it's a different breed. So you just got to attack everything the way you can. You feel me? Black Alpha, you want to chime in on that before we get to John Horst?
No, hey, y'all cooking, man. Good points. That's how it is. You're starting to see that flag everywhere, and that represents that supremacy on supremacy crime. I'm telling you, if you ever sit back and you watch, you see one person who's pro-immigration, the other person who's anti-immigration, one person who wants them to come in, the other person who don't want them to come in, and they go back and forth all day long, all the time, and we watching that shit play out. That's why I'm always saying it's our job to go ahead and exploit that situation, whether politically or socially. I like seeing Jethro and Billy Bob fight. I'll be the motherfucker in the front row watching the whole goddamn thing. That's the way we got to play it. But you're definitely seeing that go on now. And like our sister said, they take this very, very serious. You do not spend trillions of dollars on immigration just for fun. When the hell has a dominant society ever handed out money to non-members of the dominant society? They only do that shit because they are very serious about bringing in cheap labor, but cheap labor is also going to be for our replacements. Why do you think they run around and say this is a nation of immigrants? Why do you think they run around and say that immigrants built America? You're seeing the replacement and the erasure live and in living color. You got Puerto Ricans up in New York saying they started hip hop. Y'all saw what happened last year out in the West Coast with the Power 106 situation. It's all playing itself out in real time. We understand that. And I believe that foundational Black Americans, we are basically the main people on the front line. stopping this illegal immigrant influx. It all comes down to us. What we do and how we come at this and counter it is going to be very, very, detrimental to the future. We're going to have to make sure that this goes on, and we got to strategize around it. So it's not just the folks coming from the southern border. You got people coming in from the West Coast. You got people coming in from the East Coast, and we all understand immigration is anti-black. I don't give a damn about your 3 immigrant friends who are nice to you. You had an immigrant motherfucker you knew back in school. It's because having that mentality keeps my people good. And we used to have that not all bad shit. We seen what happened. That's got 11 million people coming in. That's got people flying from one side of the earth to the other side of the earth, trying to put their hands on our women in hair salons. I got a problem with that. And since I got a problem with that, I'm going to continue to call that shit out. And I'm anti anybody who's anti-FBA. You cannot represent reparations and immigration at the same time. That is a conflict of interest. So if you hear anybody coming around here saying they support reparations and they support immigration, they're a goddamn lie, because they want to give all the immigrants our reparations money. You're going to have to pick and you're going to have to choose. As a matter of fact, you ain't got to do either. I'm going to pick and choose for you. Your ass is going across the fucking street away from the House of Foundational Black Americans. That's just what it is. I'm going to send it to my brother John Horse, and then our sister Dark and Lovely, and then my brother Eastside.
Damn, bro. You was cooking, bro. For sure, bruh. So, yeah, I wanted to come in and just let y'all know, man, I had the craziest thing happen to me yesterday, bro. Like, I had this elderly white woman walk up to me. I'm chilling, handling business or whatever, just minding my business, doing my own thing. And she just walks up to me. Hey, how you doing today? I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to mind my own business, do what I got to do. The lady was like, I'm just printing out some stuff, some stuff about my family tree. I'm like, oh, here we go. She was like, I just came to find out, our family, we got, we've been here, the whole time. I was like, oh, here we go. She was like, oh, we got mulattoes in our family. We're mulatto. I'm like, oh, here we go. The reparations are on the horizon, family, bro. We just got to stay dedicated. It's on the horizon. These people out here, they tweaking. You know what I'm saying? And thankfully, she was one of the nice ones. She's one of the nice ones. But yeah, they're starting to do the research in their families just to see, you know what I'm saying, who might be FBA. Can I say that I'm FBA? I'm mulatto. I was about to say, I was like, lady, how you get mulattoes in your family then? You probably owe reparations. But yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, we getting closer and closer day by day. They starting to freak out and everything like that. And yeah, man, they arresting Donald Trump specifically, for that, this, he wants to deport all of the illegals and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things where we just gotta, just always stay on code and just understand our agenda amongst everything that's going on right now. There's a bunch of stuff going on all at the same time trying to take us off of our game. You know what I'm saying? Don't freak out about what China and Russia and all of these other countries is doing. We could use that we can play that to our advantage too. Because if the United States decides that, it wants to go to war and have another world war, well, they can figure out what they can utilize their illegals if they're trying to do that. Because, FBA, we sitting this out. They haven't fought for us. We're not fighting for them. So, yeah, I'll land.
Yes, indeed. It's all good. Before we go to you, brother Eastside, I want to get to Dark and Lovely, just in case you got to run. Go ahead, sis, and then we'll go to Eastsiders. You got it.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Bezilla. Back out for everybody in the room. I always felt like, they doing this to Donald Trump because not only was he going to send millions of them home, but he was already making moves. You see what I put in the Jumbotron, and then there was another company that I heard about too that was getting sued also for those illegal immigrants. So not only was he sending them home, but he was making them feel like, well, shit, if I ain't got nowhere to work, I'm gonna just go ahead home on my own too. That would have helped also. As far as, and I feel like it was us. Once he put out that plan to work with us, that was it too. And the thing about Donald Trump is that the Democrats can't control him, and neither can the Republicans. Nobody can control him. He does what the fuck he wants to do, and that's what they don't like. For those Republicans that also are for immigration. But okay, going on next. Now I have a question. What are y'all doing are y'all just going to get up there to the OMB and comment that y'all just want to make sure that we're like disaggregated and we're going to keep Black American and keep African American and make them use something else? Or like, what are y'all doing? Because, you know, I just need to know what are we doing here so we don't sound all over the place once we make these comments for the past couple of days. Because I just came out of the meeting with that lady Jam. You know, so they're going to be flooding that right now with people. They're going to be flooding that with people that's saying they don't want to be disaggregated from all over the place. They're going to be flooding that. So we really have to counteract that and make sure that we get our voices through. But I just don't want us to sound so all over the place and so not together, especially in these last final days. Also, you know, we just have to keep our eyes open because the last meeting last week that I attended for JAM, Lisa Holder, the one that is on the California Reparations Task Force, she was supposed to be there too, but she didn't show up. You know, so we already see the game plan. We already see how they working together. But thank God California went first, and now we know how to move from there. But yeah, if we could just talk about that a little bit, like what are we gonna say so we don't sound so crazy and all over the place in these last few days? Fuck us fighting over Freedmen, FBA, what it's gonna be. Or I don't give a fuck if they call me doodle, as long as an immigrant can't be called doodle too. That's all I want to make sure of. I don't give a fuck what name goes up there. But I just want to ask that question. Thank y'all for letting me speak. You know, I love all of y'all, and peace to everybody else in the room.
Hey, I'll take that. What we're going to have to do is continue to advocate for me personally, foundational Black Americans to the maximum 100%. See, they play it tricky because they don't necessarily want people to come out there and speak down on other terms. So there's ways of conveying our message for foundational Black Americans, which I prefer, and, you know, not necessarily undercutting other people's terms. Because I'm telling you right now, if you go out there, if some of these clowns was doing, they say, well, F that term and F that term, they not listening. You got to be precise. You got to be professional when you speak. Me and my brother Afro Elite did a show, and we literally step by step broke it down on how people have to conduct themselves, because we seen that clown shit at the reparations hearing and we heard the clown shit at the OMB. So we have to advocate for the term in which we prefer, but at the same time we got to let people know how that separates us from the term African American and Black American. We got to let that be known, and not a crazy way, not no ratchet stuff, but we got to be very, very precise and letting people know that this is the term that separates our lineage specifically, and those are the all-inclusive terms. I've seen some people saying we need to designate as this and we need to designate the whole Africa is this. I'm telling you now, we are telling them to put our name on this census and, you know, documentation. We don't have the power to classify all of Africa. So anybody going there and they think they're going to get the OMB to classify Africa as continental African and continental Caribbean, go ahead and try, but you're wasting the 2 minutes that you got. You'd be better off advocating for what you prefer opposed to talking about changing the whole goddamn earth. I'm not here to change the whole earth. I'm here to represent our lineage, our culture, and our heritage. So to answer your question, sister, I say we just got to maintain the advocacy for which we choose, and we just got to ramp it up to the maximum. One thing we learned is that when we on code and we know what we're speaking about and we precise, we get things done. So it ain't necessarily about everybody else. It's about us. And mind you, we always are working uphill. It's an uphill battle because they don't want us to delineate. They don't want us to separate. And then when we do so, they try to handcuff us and have us operate in a particular fashion. So the particular fashion in which I say we do, we just got to be no filters, on point, on code, and do it in a precise way where they cannot mix it up. They cannot twist it. They cannot tangle it. And that's why we love the terms in which we choose, because it's not remixable. So therefore, people who come out there and they start advocating for a particular term, but yet they don't let it be known that other terms may be flat or other terms may allow outsiders to come in, they're missing the point. Make it be clear that you are representing what you represent, and we are delineating and separating from others. Do it in a fashion to where you ain't yelling, screaming, and all that shit, but at the same time, do it in a point where they hear you and you get your point across. So that's the way I feel that we should do it. Brothers and sisters, happy to represent it, because I heard that little Pan-African meeting, and I'm telling everybody out there, they had that whole space or that Zoom meeting today, and they wanted to keep African American and they wanted to keep Black American. Why? Because those are two tether terms. Black American, I know people out there saying, I'm a Black American. A lot of them were foundational Black Americans last year, but then they flip-flop, but that's cool. A lot of them are saying that they're just Black American. Black American is flat as hell. You might as well say African American if you're saying Black American. This little notion to where we think that we're going to say Black American and the tethers ain't happy. The tethers love that term. The tethers love African American. We have to be far more specific than that. All African American is, that's the continental version of Black American. So therefore, anybody who is a Black person can say they're a Black American. Anybody who is an African can say they're an African American, but they can't say that about foundational Black American. So that's the difference between regulating, separating, and reparations. All of those are lined up when you're precise and you're perfect with your points, and that's what we've been doing. That's what we've been attempting to get, and that's what we're going to continue to get. Before I get to you, my brother Eastsiders, my brother Afro's in here, and y'all know that's my brother, and we just, I just mentioned his name, so I want to see if my brother wants to elaborate on that question. Go ahead, my brother.
Thank you for letting me speak. In the background, I'm doing something right now, so I'm not going to be very long. I'm just going to have to say what I have to say, and I'm probably going to go on mute. But I'm going to say this. As far as the situation with the OMB, I want to let people know that even with the New Black Media Appreciation Month, and I think our sister Eve is the one who started that, so shout out to her for that. Professor Black Truth did a video saying that we don't ask permission from anybody to do anything. We didn't ask permission from anybody to be referred to as a foundational Black American. They technically, until they change everything, we're still African Americans, like on documented paper and everything, but that's not what we refer to ourselves as. So what we did with the OMB, that wasn't us asking, oh, please call us foundational Black Americans. That was just really for the point of separating and making sure we can be delineated on the census. That was just for the fact of delineating on the census. But regardless of whatever they choose, we're still going to be foundational Black Americans because we don't need their permission to do anything. We're at this point in stage in the movement where we're just doing what we're doing because we say we want to do that. And that's just where it is. Professor Black Truth started this year off where he's designating holidays to our grandmaster teachers and activists because that's just what we should be doing. It's not like we're asking, we didn't sign a petition, we didn't have a vote. There was no committee that say, okay, well, we'll have a Dr. Francis Cress Welsing Day and a Dr. Ben Day. There was none of that. We just said, hey, they need a day, so they have a day. We have to understand that is what true power is. When you can do things and you don't have to get permission from anybody else to do it. And we don't need any permission and we don't need any co-signing. This is the reason why we can't be stopped by doing anything. We're finally at this point in time where a critical mass of people or a critical mass of Black people, foundational Black Americans, are moving in a way unapologetically and in power, moving in a sense of power. So that's a very beautiful thing that we're doing right now. I want to clear that up. Whatever happens with the OMB, we did a good job. We did the best job. Let's be honest. We did the absolute best job. But whatever happens, we're going to eventually force their hand to be referred to as foundational Black Americans because we're just not going to accept anything else. And the thing is that they can put whatever's on a piece of paper is paper. Paper don't mean nothing. Paper only means something if the people accept what is on that piece of paper. That is all that paper means. Paper literally is just a piece of paper and ink. Unless the people accept what that piece of paper and ink represents, then that doesn't mean anything. So if they say something that we don't agree with and we say we're just not going to identify as that, we're just not going to allow that to be our legal identification, then they're going to have to change that. Just like they're talking about doing now. I don't even think that the OMB takes like recommendations like that. When is the last time they take recommendations? They're doing that because they're seeing a mass change in people. So I just want to get out here and give encouragement and salute all of the brothers and sisters who've been doing that, who've been moving in power and unapologetically. So thank you all for doing that.
Man, absolutely. And shout out to y'all for leading the charge on that. And being part for all of y'all who have already, and for all of you who basically made it a reason for that jam woman and her ilk to even call it an emergency. Like they got a whole call to action to make sure that we don't delineate. Does that even make sense, family? Like, okay, man, see, that's like being at a park and a family's playing and all the kids is playing and whatnot, and then y'all about to leave. You call your kids over, and then they little kids is coming with you like, hey, we going too. No. Y'all got to go home. You going with your parents over there. We're getting in this car over here, and we're going to go to our house. You're going to go with your parents, and then you're going to go to your house. And all of a sudden, it's like these people cannot understand that concept. So much so that they are sitting in a meeting today. I mean, just listening to that was crazy. Because I'm like, this literally makes sense for y'all to be doing. Coming in here like, yeah, you know, we just feel that delineation thing, and we do not want to accept foundational Black American terms and freedmen. Wait a minute. Now you trying to get, okay, don't be a freedman, cool. But even still, that's an American term. You see what I'm saying? So the fact that you're even talking on how we identify is really a trip to me on top of that. So they fighting for us to not delineate, and then they're also crapping on our terms. So one thing I can say, like, to answer the sister's question, if you want to go and put it on the OMB to be most simple, identify as a foundational Black American and just simply refer to what that means and who that excludes. Because that way you do not have to worry about how they determine other groups are identified. But the one thing that you can make clear is they ain't identified with us.
Right, and I wanted to say one more thing that because she didn't let us do the question and answers, and she also didn't let us get into the chat. But my thing is that she's not even bringing up the fact that, you know, there are studies being done and there's work being done for whoever didn't know that they are trying to do a special credit score for Black immigrants in the United States for them to be able to purchase homes and things of that sort. In New York, they have dozens and dozens of organizations that are just specifically for Black immigrants. Just like in Philly, they just got millions of dollars to make a little Africa. So my thing is with the Black immigrant population is the fact that we never went hard to stop any of these things from y'all getting y'all own specific tangibles to y'all group. This is why we have a problem with this young lady doing that to us. You understand what I'm saying? And also, I have a problem with the ones that do say they rock with us, but nobody's pushing back and letting her know, hey, Black Americans never push back when we get our own tangibles in the country. Why are we pushing back on theirs? So this is, you know, I just wanted to also put that out there. And I also wanted to let you guys know we got to be doing a wonderful job because this lady didn't even know about the OMB. That's why she had to call an emergency meeting. So we staying ahead of the game. So I know I'm not, you know, I'm always going to say some peaceful stuff. While we might fight, we might go through what we go through, but we have to, you know, acknowledge what each of us does and pat each other on the back, whether we like each other or not, because the person that was on top of that OMB thing, thank God, because look, he got ahead of her. You understand what I'm saying? That's what we got to keep doing. I love y'all all, and you already know we got this.
Yeah, shout out to Brother JoJo. Shout out to Brother JoJo. He is definitely the one that brought it to my attention and gave me a good detailed breakdown of what they was trying to do early. I mean, early. So, yeah, shout out to that brother and all, like I said, all the rest of you who really put through the charge to make this something. It, once again, speaks to our excellence, family. If we put our stamp on something, look at how the rest of these roaches scramble. They just, and truth be told, Jam, lady, if you are listening, I have something to tell you and your folks. You need to learn how to just simply work hard. Back to you, brother.
Know who she was until a week ago. So I appreciate the love. I'm going to say this right now, and I'm going to add to it when we start talking about immigrants and the way they're elevated above us. None of this is just talk. This isn't just words. These are, true, genuine statistics that are being proven to show that these people, and there's a whole apparatus at play, are meant to come in here and to replace us. At the Black Alpha Network, me and my wife, we did a comprehensive study in statistics, and we garnered a whole lot of different numbers about where immigrants, I'm talking about as a whole, lie in America opposed to foundational Black Americans, people who are of the lineage. I'm going to break it down to you right now. Check this out. The unemployment rate for Black people, this is what it hovers around, okay? It was 10.4. Immigrants was 5.1. Household income, for foundational Black Americans of the lineage was 39,000. For immigrants, it was 54,913. Home ownership for foundational Black Americans hovered around 47%, and for immigrants, it was 53%. So what you're coming to find out, the same way that Black people are redlined and denied opportunities for home ownership and loans, the same thing happens to us when it comes to immigrants as it does when it comes to white folks. We typically think of when we get loans denied, white people get them, immigrants get them as well. We typically think when we get denied any form of subsidized or any form of, access to certain institutions, it's just white people taking those jobs. It's immigrants as well. People in New York City know exactly what I'm talking about because it happens there very frequently. You're starting to see, as we said, foundational Black Americans are going through the whole spectrum. We got to run the gambit just to get one thing. Immigrants are getting this here on day one. I was in D.C. A lot of other brothers and sisters was in D.C. as well. And did you see all the homeless Black people? The majority of people I seen were homeless were foundational Black Americans. And a lot of them were in the military. As a matter of fact, foundational Black Americans, we represent around 13-14% of the population, but we represent about 67 to 70% of the homeless rate. You don't see that with immigrants because they're making sure that when they come here, they getting house, they getting a bed. Y'all seen right there in New York City, they was getting cuisines made from their homeland. Do y'all know what type of shit that takes to give somebody cuisines from their homeland? That means you are going above and beyond to make these folks feel comfortable. Not to mention they're sleeping in Airbnbs. They was playing Xboxes and PlayStation. They had them motherfuckers playing Nintendos. And I don't even know motherfuckers play Nintendos no more. But they was going back in the day to make sure that they was happy and they was satisfied. You see them in Georgia, the Ukrainians come around and they have interpreters. That is money being spent. And it's not being spent by the hundred or the thousands, by the millions and the billions. This is what these people are being granted while certified foundational Black Americans, we're running the gambit and we're out here struggling, living paycheck to paycheck. So if you do not believe that this is done on purpose, or if you do not believe that there is a plot and a plan to come in and put this on our people, then you are out of your mind. We've been out here working. We've been out here doing our thing. You see homeless people who served in the military and they're out here in the cold. We give away a lot of, I ain't going to promote it or nothing, but let's just say we do some things to help homeless people here in the South. That's me and my wife do that. Okay. And I don't give it to anybody who isn't a foundational Black American. Now, I can't just check them and check their goddamn birth certificate or whatever, but I can check their hairline and I can check their goddamn jawline. And I'm sorry, I'm not here to help you because at the end of the day, the government helps you. I'm here to help my people. I'm here to help the people that do not get the help. You go ahead.
But can I say this, Black Alpha? Check this
yes,
out.
You can.
When you said that and I want to put y'all onto something because I don't know if y'all knew this. In New York, when they did that shelter with the games and the laundry and all that stuff like that, they had to shut that shit down because none of the immigrants even came through that motherfucker. So that lets you know that they don't even need the government's help anymore. They clearly had their own people already set up helping them. They shut it down because nobody was even coming in here. So where did all these immigrants go? Where did they go? They went to family houses, wherever they had to go, but their people already had them set up to win to the point where they didn't even need the motherfucking government. So, I just wanted y'all to know that too in New York. Nobody came through, and that's why they took it down.
Ain't that a hell of a point? That's a good point, sister. I appreciate that. That's a hell of a point right there. And you seeing that type of stuff go on throughout the country. It is an elevation process. Our brother Tariq Nasheed, he always says it. They are meant to bury us under immigration. Bury us under immigration. That is exactly what they want to do. And we're all seeing it. As Dr. Claude taught us about what will be going on now, and he talked about this in the early 80s, we are now talking about what's going to go on in the future. So it's a passing of the torch. It's a passing of the baton. We got to take what our master teachers taught us about immigration, and we got to pass that down to the youth so they'll be prepared. And I'm all for it. I know y'all all for it, but it starts with us identifying it, framing it, putting their faces on that Summer Jam screen, and being anti anything that isn't pro us. With that said, I see Afro, you got your hand back up, family, and then we'll spin it back around.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real quick with this, and then I'm gonna drop down a listener. Today, in case people didn't know, and then I don't want to switch gears, but hold on, excuse me. Women's basketball. Hold on. That's a video I was playing in the background. I don't really want to switch gears, but I saw Donald Trump in there, so I thought that maybe talking about politics isn't so bad. But today is the day of the Chicago mayor election between Brandon Johnson and between Paul Vallas. And I've been arguing with a few people I know, like, personally. And then I made a tweet on Twitter, and then it seems like it's triggered some people. Somebody has even said, what is the lesser of two evils? And I feel like this reflects on the situation with Donald Trump and the situation with Joe Biden and just politics in general. The lesser of two evils, brothers and sisters, is still evil. It's still bad. It's still wrong. And I talk about precedents and setting good precedents often, because when you start, how you start is how you finish. That's the way I think. That's why I say it all the time. When you start off voting for evil, it's not going to be less evil. The evil isn't going to get better. It's not like when you vote for evil, the evil will kind of tone down and then there will eventually be a good option. It's only going to ramp up. It's only going to elevate. If you feel like my hands are cuffed and I have to vote for somebody even though they're bad, the person who comes after the bad person is a worse person. It's not like the person who's going to come after a bad person is going to be a better person, not unless we appoint that person and we like grow that politician ourselves. That's not what's going to happen. You create a very, very bad precedent when you compromise and when you acquiesce and when you say, I'm going to vote because this person is bad, but he or she is not as bad as the other person. So under no circumstance do I agree that you should be voting for what they call the lesser of two evils, because even if that person, let's be honest, even if that person is the lesser of two evils, you're still setting yourself up for failure, and that's something that nobody wants to happen. It's better. And a lot of people still don't understand this. The general population doesn't really understand this. It's better that you have a firm stance to say, I am not going to vote at all for any circumstance until a better politician comes, because that will force their hand to say, okay, we can't just throw anybody out there and expect the general public to support it. And the thing is that these politicians ultimately rely on the people in the population support. If the politicians are seeing that they're not getting the people support, they will have to change. You are not going to get these evil politicians to change if they feel that they will be getting your vote anyway. That's the thing. And if you want to force their hand to change, it can be done, and it has been done, but it can't be done if they feel like, well, at the end of the day, you're going to vote regardless. So I only have to change so much because you're going to have to vote. All I have to do is be better than the other guy. That's all they're thinking. Just got to be a tiny, teeny little bit better than the other guy. And I'm going to get your vote because you're going to vote regardless. I don't have to be your politician. Just got to be a little better than him or her. You need to set the standard of, no, you can't just be better than him or her. You got to be for me. And when you're for me, that's when you will get my vote. Besides that, you're not getting my vote or support or endorsement. So that's the way we need to move when it comes to politicians. So I hope I didn't throw everything off, but I saw that Donald Trump was in there, even though this ain't really got to do with politics, is his arrest. But it is the day of the election, so I wanted to put that in there.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother, because Sister Miriam actually brought up that mayoral race, too. She has already laid her vote and cast her vote. So if you guys are out there in Chicago, make sure you go vote your interests out there for the mayor, because you don't want to have a bad leader. You already saw who was there. And clearly those who voted for it last time was not feeling it this time around. So you guys did your job there. But make sure you see it through by making sure you vote today out there. With that being said, real quick before we get to Eastsiders family, if you could do us a very quick favor, if you could go to YouTube real quick and do us a big favor and subscribe to my brother Black Alpha Network's channel. You can see his channel. It is literally in the Jumbotron. And then after you subscribe to that, brother, please go to my channel, which is also in the Jumbotron. That is Beatzilla PDX Official. And then also go over to our good brother right here, Afro Elite. Go over to his channel and subscribe if you have not done so already. And so with that being said, thank y'all for the support. Brother Eastsiders, it is on you. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you. It feels good to be back in this space, man. My apologies for my absences. It just I've been working these third shifts, so they've been it's been kind of kicking my ass a little bit, But I'm listening to everything y'all saying, man. And one thing that keep ringing a bell in my head is strategy. We got to think strategic. We got to think like we're in a war, because we are. We've been in this war ever since this place been colonized. Now, and you know, the first thing we got to do is get, you know, in warfare, the first thing one does is gather, you know, yeah, man. We gotta maintain a course, man. We can't start wavering and getting all complacent every time we don't feel the pressure. The main thing, is consistency, and in doing so, we are able to, like they say, keep that pressure, apply that pressure, like Brother Afro said, once we keep it consistent, they know that they can't just get our votes for free. They know they can't get our support for free, and they understand that they're going to have to pay a toll like they will with everybody else, as long as, they want our participation, as long as they want our support. There's so much I can get into on this warfare strategy, but I don't want to hold up too much time. I'll land there for now.
Yeah, hey, let me jump in real quick. Appreciate that, Esadis. I knew you was about to cook when you started off speaking about reconnaissance, brother, and you absolutely right. It's all about, being strategic and laying down a plan. I do want to talk about that little African secret little meeting they had, because, I was tapping in, I was listening. And family, every single thing that we say, and I mentioned this earlier, every single thing that we say about folks trying to run interference on us, you definitely seen it in full play, and there's desperation at the same time. These are individuals who clearly are threatened by our success. They're clearly jealous of our success, and they are in full go right now. What we have to understand is that as we've got more on code, people have become more of distractors, and they're doing everything, that they have in their power, and they have minimal power, but they're doing everything they can to try to prevent us from getting to the bag, to prevent us from getting reparations. You said it best, Zilla. Reparations is at the core of all of this stuff, is at the core of all of it. When we, get our tangibles and we get the success in which we're achieving, that sends the game into, a complete aftershock. Everybody's shook right now. They don't know where to go, what to do. And you kept hearing terms basically of, translation. We want to stop FBA right now while we still can. That's what they was basically saying. They understand that the clock is running out. They are in the 11th hour. They are in the 11th hour because they understand we are getting closer and closer to our goals. We're getting closer and closer to achieving our destiny. And that right there has them scared. But that was one secret meeting. And it really wasn't too secret, by the way. But trust and believe there's other ones going on out there. They're going to have the Ukrainians going to have one. The Afghans going to have one. People south of the border going to have one. That was just the scam African version. But trust and believe, as I tell you this, there are plenty different groups that are out there having these backdoor, back channel secret meetings so they can all try to stop us. Me and my brother Afro Elite had a conversation before, and we speak about how now you're seeing some of these groups team up. You got people who don't speak the same language, people that don't share the same religion, they don't even have the same goals. But one thing that they have in common, and the one common denominator, is that they want to stop foundational Black America. I think my brother Afro says like the Legion of Doom. Okay, all of these folks is all of a sudden making friends. What they say, in war makes strange bedfellows. You feel me? So we have to be very, very aware that the opposition is coming from a lot of different ways. And one of the things that I've been saying on the Black Alpha Network is that the new person who tries to run opposition against our reparations is going to be the person saying that they support our reparations. We have to be very, very careful of these repo fakers. Okay, these repo fakinists, these folks who come around, they throw numbers out there. They'll say 5.2, 2.9, lineage, heritage. They'll say all these good, nice terms. But in reality, they're trying to run interference on our reparations. They understood that they can't come out in an overt fashion and just say that they're against our reparations because we see them from a mile away. Or excuse me, anybody who's plugged into my channel, I always say FBA sees your ass from a mile away. So they understand that we see their ass from a mile away. So now what they're doing is they're saying, let me not say I'm against reparations. Let me say that I'm for reparations. And you're seeing a lot of these people, and a lot of them have been in some of these Twitter spaces. They've been coming around saying they're running on the platform of reparations. In reality, they're running interference on our reparations. But they have to make it look like they're one of us or they're down with us so they can infiltrate us from the inside. Infiltrating foundational Black Americans from the outside is not happening. It is not happening. That's the old days. If you want to experience that, go back to Edmund Pettus Bridge, where you could just infiltrate a motherfucker right in front of them. They're not doing that anymore. We're too on game, we're too intelligent, and we're too thorough. Now they're trying to infiltrate us by saying how they're down with us and how they want good tangibles for us. But when you peel back the layers, you see a bunch of funny style behavior. So we got to be very cautious of these people who claim that they want our reparations. Y'all have heard me say this before. Our reparations is pretty much like a designated driver, and they want us to hand our keys over. What happens when you give your keys to a designated driver? You going wherever the hell they drive you. So they want us to say, here, Mr. Whoever the hell, here's the keys to our reparations claim. And trust me, they're going to drive that shit to the Ukraine. They're going to drive that shit to Mexico. They're going to drive that shit to Afghan, Pakistan, Jamaica, all the way across the world, because we have to make sure no matter what we do, we stay in control. We're going to have to start having black grassroots committees, black grassroots meetings where we can speak in back channels and get the work done. If they having secret meetings, then we need to just have a foundational Black American only meeting. And that's what a lot of brothers and sisters have been doing. And I just promote more brothers and sisters to do the same exact thing. So remember this, the new opposition against reparations is these very funny style characters who say that they support our reparations. Everybody has to be vetted. Their paperwork has to be snatched, and we got to see what they are really about. If they're not about our reparations and they can't speak the real language and they can't talk to the core of us, then we're going to go ahead and have to send their ass right on out the door. And if you look at it, we've been sending motherfuckers right on out the door for a very long time. That's something we're very, very good at. And I'll send you back to Zilla, and then we can spread it back around.
Yes, indeed. Something I want to make sure that I kind of do, because I know today we're probably going to have a lot of new speakers. So we want to prioritize the new speakers. With that being said, we have the activists and AAPPIA, but can't pronounce that. But so we'll go to activists and then the one with the Tupac profile, and then we'll get back into our rotation. So go ahead, brother activist, you got it.
All right, thank you for letting me speak. Good afternoon, everybody. Man, this is so empowering. Great to see everyone. Now, as we move along, and we know that reparations is our wedge, we have to keep just amplifying the message. What I want to say is briefly, as I could put it, is let's think about solutions. I think everyone can find at least 3 FBA banks, right? And on the back channels, we can designate one day where we each put in $100. And we use those 3 banks to do different things. We can concentrate on black construction. Dr. John Henry Clark said, hey, no FBA person should go out here without underwear that's made by us. We got ideas for foods. Sisters can start taking over salons and cosmetics and beauty again. We got black trucker owners. This is what we have to do on these black channels. And in the face of education, man, we got to come up with some positive, tangible homeschooling programs and pull our kids out of here. Yes, we got a lot of work. Yes, we outnumbered. Yes, we outgunned. But that's the way the Creator made it, just to give these other people a chance. We have the greatest, power and force that's down within inside of us, because most importantly, and I'll land my plane here, we've done these things before, just in little snippets here and there. Our forefathers, we've done this before, but now it's coming 9-pronged. The advantage we have now is that instead of writing a paper and a book where it's going to take me 10 years to get to all of y'all, I can get on the space. Black Alpha Network can get on the space. You can go to YouTube and check out Alpha Elite. You can listen to Tariq, and we can network. But to get, boots on the ground, and like the brother said, recognizance, we have to protect all the things that I talked about and even more. That's protection number 1. And that comes to who? The FBA man. Thank you so much. I land. Peace.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, my brother. AAPPIA, you can let us know your next word.
My name is Pierre. Can you hear me?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much. First off, I just wanted, a bit of clarity here. There's a brother that said that a group of Africans held a meeting today, and they were talking back, saying something against FBA, and I just wanted I wanted him to throw more light on it, because as long as I'm concerned, the larger popularity, as long as Africa is concerned, or the people here, the focus is not on FBA or Black Americans. We are largely in support of reparations, so on and so forth. Can you hear me?
But yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that the immigrants here, the black immigrants here, they are not in any way, against reparation, and we are not seeking.
Hold up. Brother, I remember you. I know who you are. You didn't do like my dog does and do a circle and come back and I forgot what you just did, homie. I remember you. And I see what you're doing, family. You speaking on all these people. We heard what we heard. Okay, we seen what we saw, brother. We know what time it is. I know what you about to do. You about to lecture us and tell us that not all of them is bad and it's all's good. You ran that same game before and we ran you out to space before, brother. I remember you. Okay, so we don't need you to listen to me. Listen. We don't need you. I don't want you to talk because I'm talking. I don't need you to talk because I'm talking. Brother, I know the game you running. I know the game you running. Did y'all not hear me? I got 170 some people in here. Didn't we just say FBA sees your ass from a mile away? I saw your ass before you even became a speaker. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to hit us with that. Not all of them is bad, and we don't really care about all the reparations and just only like a lot of them hate y'all, but we're going to deny that we do. Brother, stop it. You're running tether game, homie. You're running tether game.
You don't have to be disrespectful, though. You don't need to be.
I want to be disrespectful, and I'm going to do what I want to do because I'm the man. And I'm FBA, brother. So check this. What you're going to do is you're going to see your way right on out of here because you know what? We typically have these conversations and then it goes about 5-10 minutes and then we roast them. And then somebody says that we wasting time. We just going to fast forward to the end of that movie, run that dude out of here and continue with my foundational Black American sisters. I got 2 sisters right now on your panel with their hands up, and we're not going to waste these 2 sisters' time with a goddamn tether. So forget that guy. We heard what we heard. We seen what we see. We don't need him to give us no lectures. I'm not sure which one of my sisters had their hands up first, but either one of y'all can take it because I'm much more interested in hearing you 2 sisters than hearing him. Go ahead.
I'll take this one. Yeah, he was running game. This is what we had to deal with in Seattle. Okay, they come in and pretend to be the friend, but we know they're open enemies. It's a game. It's a business game out here. It's a social services game out here. It's part of the politics, the local politics, whether you're in the city or in the county. Okay, you already know the lingo. You already know the angle, and they try to slide in with that. Well, not all are bad. Listen. I'm glad you checked them. I'm glad you spoke up, and I am so glad you let it be known, hey, you know what? You're not going to pull that con, okay? Because it is a con game, all right? They try to use the trick bag language, all right? They use those weasel words, and it's disgusting. I hear it all the time. All right, that's how they got over on a lot of the black folks, foundational Black Americans, Negro Americans. We know who we are. We've been here for a long time. We've seen it all. We've been through it all. Okay, I'm considered an elder in my community, so I can say I've seen it all and I've been through enough. Enough is enough. All right, when one comes in, you know, there's a couple of families coming in. And folks around here, we gatekeep a lot of the resources, the limited amount of resources we have. And we just tell them no. And that's what you got to do, is say no and be firm about it. Don't let them think that they have any kind of psychological advantage or any type of opportunity to come in and Beauregard over you. And it's important. It's not xenophobic, okay? It's not divisive. It's called you be to you and leave us alone. Don't come over here in our business because you're not welcome in our business. We don't have anything in common, and we really don't want your kind coming over here because we've seen it, we've experienced it, and we don't want no more of it. Okay? If you guys have your plans, great. Stop eating off of our plate. Stop trying to come over where we are. If you've got the money, you've got the resources, go right ahead and do what you got to do. Leave us out of it. And I'll land with that.
Thank you so much, my sister. And shout out Lioness Crown. I see you and thank you for what you just sent me. I'm reading their agenda. Family, we got to keep an eye on the, what did the Nigerian, so real quick, brother, let me answer your question. What the Nigerian woman is trying to do is, let me just read this to you real quick. Additional complications to using slavery as an ethnic description. U.S. chattel slavery's international impact. Intra-American slave trade. New York City's illegal international slave trade. Descendants of various national origins. diasporic descendants of enslaved Africans, Barbados, Trinidad, Jamaica, etc. Do you understand what this treacherous woman is doing? And you choosing my words on the kind end of the spectrum, but you understand this is absolutely wicked. And how big of a grift? I mean, you talking about us. Oh man, you guys miss hating. Well, I don't understand what those other Africans see. They don't have a problem. Yeah, this is the reason why they don't have a problem, because what they're doing is trying to tether themselves into our reparations claim. So just briefly giving you an answer, that's what the problem was. And if you can't understand that's a problem, then I'll tell you what. Go ahead and the first foundational Black American you meet, give him your ATM card and your password and drive him to the bank. If not, shut your ass up. Sister Miriam, it is on you, my sister.
Indeed. Thank you, brother. And shout out to you. Thank you so much, Goddess Lioness Crown. I so love you, sister. I appreciate the knowledge and the information that you put forth and out, and everything that you do for our lineage. You are truly a gatekeeper and part of the feminine aspect of the vanguard, sister. I shout you all out all the time. You, Sister Tessman, Sister Vicky, Dillard. I mean, that's a must. Other beautiful sisters like Just Eve, Sister Juicy, Sister Nikki the God, I tell you. And then it's myself and Sister La Negras, Sister Dark and Lovely. I mean, we're not playing these games. Sister Miss Giselle, I mean, get it in there, because we know who our brothers are in the vanguard. They stand strong with that masculine protection. So viral. Oh my God, it's a beautiful thing. Just make me tremble and shake in appreciation. I bow to thee. Now, as far as this person, this Nigerian woman, and she's the second one I've seen. It was one that was accosting the school board, talking about our history being taught with our children and siding with the infrastructure of institutional racism, white supremacy. Now, for this person, we really do have to understand that we have to do recognizance. We have to do the art of war. We have to do gathering of information, and not only that, boots on the ground to kick in the door of these people who have been interlopers and hawk vultures, as well as culture vultures within our midst. Those who are the us that want to be us. It's them. All of these things that point out who they are. Now, as far as this woman and the other tether class of her ilk, this is very diabolical. And the repercussions of what's going on or the implications can be so horrific for us. Yes, we know that we're going to do everything we need to do in the face of our open enemy, and some that are not so open, but we're pulling the covers back and exposing them, because our brothers and sisters, we have eyes and ears everywhere. Thank God for you. And our brother Jojo, our brother Ogun, you know what I'm saying? Brothers like that as well, who may be present on some of these fronts and also help divulge the information that is much needed so we can stay ahead of the curve of our open enemy. We really have to understand that it's just not them who's trying to cuff our culture. They are truly here to erase us, to assimilate into this system. Now, we're not speaking of the writers and the ride or dies who are of the diaspora, but they are few and far in between. We have to realize that. And as you were saying, brother Black Alpha and brother B. Silly, if they're not calling them out, then in your silence, you are in agreement with that which they are doing. If you oppose, you not only speak out about it, you also do action about it. Because that's your problem that you need to rectify. That's your problem that you need to get in check. If you don't check your garbage, we will. Now, I'll yield my time. Thank you.
Yes, indeed, my sister, as always, man, cooking as always. And the one thing about, I think we're seeing a lot more movement on the local end, on the political end, but it first needed to be becoming politically aware. And now that we have the institution of New Black Media, you have a lot more voices and information coming at you that gets you pertinent information that literally deals with your political position. We've never had that before. So a lot of this I do understand is it's new to a lot of people because you haven't been around something so black and so political, which has this type of world-changing power to where you see, because let's keep it a buck. This isn't just about some Nigerian woman. There's money behind that. Somebody is putting that, the machine is invested in this. So that does say that, hey, we on the right track, but at the same time, it says we got some powerful ass enemies. And so we always want to be mindful of that. These things don't just happen by happenstance. And this woman is just think about that. To have an emergency Zoom meeting to do something like that, you're not doing that alone. That's not just happening, family. So understand there are powers at play that have a lot invested in us not getting our reparations. But when you hear such concessions from a person like Charlie Kirk saying, hey, you guys just better pretty much get used to living in a world of reparations, that's telling you a lot. And look at who's fighting it the most. If Charlie Kirk is conceding, why isn't there any liberals doing the same? Y'all peeping that out? And who are the liberals helping? Immigrants. Who are we seeing? So just like that brother asked just a minute ago, what were those Africans doing? Because most of these, listen, those Africans were in there undermining foundational Black Americans, period. And if that's what they're doing and they're trying to undermine our reparations by any kind of sneaky backdoor tactics, trying to make sure they are known as us, the main reason why they were saying that is so they don't get cut off from resources that their community, my brother Black Alpha, those numbers that he gave, so that would be in jeopardy. And then our numbers, of course, would be taking a strong, stern shift upward while they're in that position. So make no mistake, that's why you're hearing the crying, and that's why they doing all of this wicked, backstabby BS. Before we get to Dark and Lovely, Brother Alpha, did you want to chime in, brother?
Very, very briefly. First off, our sister Miriam had two Tupac Shakur quotes, so you were spitting fire, so appreciate that. Second is exactly, family, what we speak of. Like we said, brother, they don't just give money away. They don't just give money away. At this point, if you can't see the whole apparatus and you can't see the play that's in, then, you ain't really fit for what we do here. You're not really fit to fight supremacy. You need to sit down and stay down because we identified, and it's not even something we got to peel back layers to see. At this point, the erasure of our culture, of our lineage, and our heritage that they're attempting to try is front and center. And we all watch it. That's why we can have these conversations, and our brothers and sisters, no matter where you're from, no matter what region you reside in, we all understand it and see what's going on. And that little meeting that they had today was only confirmation again of what we talk about. It was the personification of tethers. So when we say people tether, they were tethering. When we say people flee, they flee. It ain't no rocket science here. We call things out for exactly what it is. This little notion that foundational Black Americans are bullying people and picking on people, we're not doing anything but minding our own business. It's not our fault that they cross our path. They cross our path by trying to come into our lane. And then when we respond to that, then they try to play the victim. I've said it before and I'll say it again. A lot of tethers, they got feminist tactics. Burna Boy came out and he was talking like Becky from the goddamn Me Too movement. They pull the same stuff. You did this to me. You trying to hurt me. You a hate group. They get all their tactics from the dominant society. So I always say us walk like us and talk like us. But mentally on the inside, feminist movement. Sister Dark and Lovely, it's on you.
I just wanted to say that also Wani Spots brought up a really, really good point, because she was saying that basically when you was listening to Jam, what she was basically saying is like, we're the only people in the world that don't have a lineage. Like, motherfuckers can get on boats, get on planes, go back to Nigeria, be Nigerian, come back to the United States. Now they African American. Like, no, like we are just here for whoever to come back in and out whenever. So then she tried to bring up a point that well, in New York in I think the 1700s or some shit, that the slaves in New York, they came to New York and then somebody sent them back to the Caribbean. So, you know, that's why the Caribbean should be included. And now she's saying that the black people in South America, they also connected to U.S. chattel slavery, the ones in Brazil, because when the Confederate soldiers, they ran from the South because they didn't want to be ruled by the North. They took slaves from the United States with them. So them down there, they're lineage, they in the lineage too. I mean, all over the place. So I said, okay, this lady got to be in trouble with the MacArthur Foundation. They must have got on her ass because she let that O&B slide past her eyes. You understand what I'm saying? That's what's going on. So anyway, I'm going to just repeat. We just going to stay ahead of things, family, because that's what went on. She couldn't even keep her words straight. She made absolutely zero sense. Because now, not only are the black immigrants involved, now the South Americans, the Brazil. I mean, this is crazy.
It really is. And I heard exactly what you're talking about, sis. And I'm like, is this woman for real? Like, what the hell is she talking about?
Like, who's not black American at this point? Like, who the fuck is not?
Oh, man. For those of y'all who miss it, they said they're going to include, I guess, or whatever. So if you get a chance to just peep the Zoom spectacle that was today.
Hey, no, hey, Zilla. Hey, you know what, brother? You know, I'm always thinking ahead, right, brother? Well, let's just say Black Alpha gonna have that for people to see. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, brother. See, now, yeah, that's thinking. Because, bro, I was thinking the same. I'm like, damn, I need to be recording it. Because, yo, family, y'all gonna and they got another meeting, I think tomorrow or something like that, or Thursday. If y'all get a chance to tune in, please make sure you get in there and just hear what they're talking about, because they ain't gonna let you up to speak, and they're gonna they're gonna shut down the comments. But so you can at least witness the diabolical nature of a straight up grifting ass tether. And so that Jam woman, and she's been one of these, she's been active at doing what she's been doing for a long time. So look at all of those. Shout out to, Brother JoJo, because I believe he's the one that found all of the sponsors behind this behind this lady. And do you understand the type of money that, man, the people that are behind this woman are the same people that you hear listed off on OPB programming. But did you want to chime back in, brother Eastside, before we go to Atticus?
Real quick. And my bad, brother Atticus. I'll make this really quick. Also want to say we got to understand when we're dealing with targets of strategic importance, what is the most important to us? You know, we can't just go after any old agenda, you know what I'm saying, thinking that it's going to somehow work for us down the road. We got to understand what's important right off the top.
Facts, brother Eastsider, facts.
Brother Atticus. Or Black Alpha, you go ahead, brother.
Yeah, man. Hey, y'all cooking first off. I'm going to say this. I'm going to add to what my brother said. What we got to do, and I always tell this to people all the time, is simple and plain. Malcolm X said, make it plain. Well, a lot of this is plain. Find out what supremacy doesn't want us to do, and then do it. Simple as that. So when people come around all day long and they tell us to support immigration, don't support immigration, because they're never going to give you any type of benefits or say anything that's to your welfare or your well-being. The very fact that they come around and they always try to steer us in a certain direction, and that direction is never what's good for us. So when you hear them come out and they say support immigration, all lives matter, you got to think from the opposite side of that. And the same thing went on with this secret Pan-African meeting. If you listen to the terminologies and the words that they use, you already know what direction we need to go in, which is the direction most of us have already been going in anyway. What were the two terms that they were beating on? They were beating on what? African American and Black American. That's the tethers openly telling you that's what they prefer because that's what benefits them. So if they're saying it, then we need to understand those are the terms that are detrimental to us because it's in the tether's favor. So therefore, whenever somebody comes around our society or our community and they're always trying to convince us to do something that we know goddamn well ain't best for us, just don't do it or go the opposite direction. So in other terms, if they say go down, go up. If they say go left, go right. And we heard them today keep beating on African American. They did not want to disassociate or disattach themselves from the term African American because it's what we have already previously identified is that that term is for tethers. That is a tether term that is too goddamn flat. And a lot of brothers and sisters been in these spaces as well as other channels, and they've been saying that for the longest. And just today in that bullshit ass Zoom meeting they had, you just happen to hear a tether admit it. If you watch close enough, family, these folks will always admit and lay out their game plan. We've seen that time after time again. When Joe Biden comes out and he says in the next 20 years or whatever the fuck, by 2040, this country's going to be minority white, y'all going to have to start working with Latinos. What's he telling us? He's telling us those are your goddamn replacements. It ain't that deep. It ain't rocket science. It's simple. If you're listening and you understand what you're hearing, you can identify it. And if you're watching and you can understand what you see, you can diagnose it. And that's why we got to always, as I say, see the forest through the trees. You got to learn how to train your eyes. These folks are out here telling us their agenda. They're out here telling us their plans. And those plans and those agenda are not to benefit us. But they come around us and they always try to sell us that that's what it is. Y'all remember every time a brother or sister gets harmed by a race soldier, what happens? BLM, the Democrat shields, they show up and they start trying to pivot the information. They start trying to pivot the energy. They try to send us in another direction. We all seen what Joe Biden was on. And guess what? We ain't vote for his ass. And now you're seeing what the tethers are on. Therefore, we're not jumping behind it. We're not caping for him. We're not going in that lane. We're not going in that area because we understand we good where the fuck we at. With that said, Atticus, is all on you, family.
Man, the room was on fire.
Before you go, brother activist, may I say one thing to tie into what Brother Black Alpha was saying? When he say do the reverse, do the opposite, that's called reverse psychology, family. Let's implement that.
All right, cool. All right, man, this room is hot. We're going to keep it going now. What I've done since the last time I spoke is I went in. I guess that lady Jam doesn't know who I am, so I'm following her. So, hey, we got boots on the ground and be right on her butt there. Now, to counter what these silly folks are doing, I always like to do two things. First of all, let's look at the political side of this. Now, we know national politics ain't going to work. It's no tangibles, no vote. But on the local level, we have to do things like run for the school board, run for the water board, run for your, your whatever, your neighborhood, this and that, because we need to find out not only are these resources not going to us, but those are our tax dollars. So you ain't doing nothing but infiltrating what's yours and putting it right back in the same place. And then secondly, as far as, strategy and how we really going to implement this, man, we got to have the greatest paperwork check, infiltrating, like, for instance, I'll land right here after this quick story. My great aunt worked at the Vital Statistics office in New York City. So when it came time for me to figure out my family tree, guess what? I had a conversation with her, and it wasn't just about directly, but what ways can you show me on the big framework how they track us? You know what I mean? How they do things. She showed me different things about the census and how we work. And there's ways, if we look back in our own history, and like I said, I'm laying here, like when Ghanaians and Vietnamese people come up to me, I'll go, listen, man, let me tell you something. Ho Chi Minh and Kwame Nkrumah, they both got educated at Lincoln College, an all-black school, HSBC in Pennsylvania. Y'all got the game from us. Same thing with the Brazilians. You can look around the world, whether it's Ethiopia, where Robinson, went out there and started the airplane, showed those brothers how to whoop the Italians. We are everywhere. We've been everywhere. That's why we the face of this. Our melanin is our shield, but our DNA and our history is our power. So let's get back to that. I'll say black to the future. Thank you. I'm landed.
Brother JoJo, what's going on, my brother? You can go ahead and unmute yourself, brother. And again, since you're here, let me go ahead and give you your cigar too. So shout out to you, brother, for putting everybody up on that OMB situation and getting all that information to us. Because now with this new development with this jam woman, it is speaking to a deeper, even more sinister than we first suspected move. So again, shout out to you and cigars to you, my brother. So go ahead, JoJo, you got it.
No doubt, man. Peace, Beat. Peace, Black Alpha. Peace, Miriam. Peace, Eastsiders. Peace, Just Eve. And peace to everybody else, right? I just want to be clear with this again, man, because I was doing my investigating on this stuff once I seen one of the people that was up under that freedman term jump out of the window. So that kind of like made me very apprehensive of the freedmen. So the freedmen led us to this right here, man. Without the freedmen doing that fraudulent movement, man, because I'm going to keep it all the way up front with y'all. You got to remember, NAASD is connected to the Reparations Ventures. Liberation Ventures falls up under the funding of, the MacArthur Foundation, the Rockefellers, WK, Kellogg, and others, man. So now the peoplehood terminology was the actual strategy, guys. Because this Pan-African woman that was doing this Zoom call today, she's saying that the peoplehood is under attack. The peoplehood is the strategy. The peoplehood has always been in existence. It just wasn't in existence for the public. So now that we've kind of like pushed up on their bumper and we kind of like expose all of their little strategies and tactics, because they get people to come in our spaces, the co-op FBA energy, get us to get away from foundational Black American, get us to saying terms like freedmen and ADOS and dang on Negro and all this old other stuff that really it does not identify us as a specific lineage designated to this land, leaves all kind of loopholes. We see that the term foundational Black American is totally under attack. Can't nobody attest it. Can't nobody go up against it. But I bet you this, when she did her call, she made sure she pointed out the flaws in the term ADOS. She couldn't point out no flaws in foundational Black American, man. So we standing on that, man. I'm just letting y'all know, man, we got to stop letting these folks co-opt our energy, come up in our space, act like they share the same issues with us, but then again, they live up on the different terminologies, they live up on the different mindsets, and they pushing different agendas. And these people are being paid off. We've already proven the paper trail. It don't need to be as clear as that. If you know these people are being co-opted and put into our face and saying that they are our leaders, they are not our leaders. They do not speak for us. They got the freedmen have made another move. I don't know if a lot of people know about it. Some people know about it, but they put together another proposal with Sandy Darity's name on it and a couple of other people like Dr. Lisa Brown and a few others that are totally against foundational Black American, man. So this is an attack of our lineage. This is an attack of self-classification and identification specific to this land. All this freedman stuff opens doors to other people. We know that. We proven that. We proven the right freedman. We ain't got to keep going back and forth on that. You know what I'm saying? Now we see the Pan-Africans jumping out of the window trying to tie us into some transcontinental reparations program where she's talking about some slaves went to freaking Brazil. Man, look here, man. Slavery ain't just based upon, reparation is just not based upon slavery. It's based upon the harms done to us on this soil. The entire time we've been up under the systematic white supremacy. So all this old nonsense they talking about family, y'all pay attention to these people, man. They in this space right now. I guarantee you they're going to be somewhere else talking about they freedmen or they Negro or whatever, or they going back to tell somebody, keeping intel, keeping tabs on how we moving. Yeah, we watching y'all. We on y'all heels. Every time y'all turn, we turning with you. So put it like that, man. I just want y'all to stay inspired, man. We on a bumper talking about this stuff, y'all. Man, look at him, man. This is serious. That's how serious it was, man. I'm glad we jumped on it when I caught those freedmen trying to bust that move, man, because we would have been way behind the ball. I'm telling you. I already know it. So I'm just thankful that the ancestors have me alert, have y'all alert, and we all working together to bring some true justice and drawing some lines in the sand with these folks, man, because, them people ain't us, man. I'm going to land my plane. Peace.